Welcome to Gravelode, and this news we'll start with first is Grand Theft Auto 6 delayed till 2026. I believe May of 2026, and that was from Rockstar Games, and this is the thing that every game studio has been waiting for, is to see when this game is going to come out so that they can put their release around it, right? Because Grand Theft Auto will be a huge launch. Last couple have been, and this is just another one. This is why I said game studios shouldn't just sit and wait. They should actually have a plan so that they can, if they need to adjust, they can work around it. But now we know Rockstar came out and said, we're sorry that this is later than what you expected, and they just want to thank you for your patience and support while they finish the game. For me, I'd rather them finish the game, make sure that it's right instead of hopefully having a whole bunch of issues, which then loses your momentum. I'd rather have a delay than not and get it right. As a developer myself, I think of, we're going to get stuff right. We're going to get most of the bugs ironed out. Yeah, there may be some stuff, but we're going to make it playable and we're going to make it enjoyable so that you don't have issues in that enjoyment process. And this is perfectly fine, but I'm glad to see that we've gotten some announcement, because now everyone else can hopefully get their schedule around it. So that's been I think that's one of the biggest news in the hardware slash gaming space this past week, because that's the game that everyone's been waiting for. So we finally got something a little bit more on that. But let's jump to AMD here. And AMD has a little bit of leaking news here, because Gigabyte has some support for the Threadripper 9000WX. So that was leaked, and Gigabyte video cards had this. And, I still use the Threadripper. I'd like to upgrade my system. I haven't yet. But I still use an old Threadripper 2000 series Threadripper, and that's still going strong. I do have an affinity for these processors. There are use cases where I can see these processors being very, very valuable, and I hope that AMD continues to do this, continues to have a high-end performance with the core counts increasing on desktop. I hope that AMD continues to do that, but continues to have this high core count, because I think there's workstation scenarios, in particular some companies, if you're running simulations of certain things, that you can easily use one of these and it'd be useful to be in there. Granted, the consumer side of it DIY has probably subsided a lot since core counts have gone up in the mainstream, but I still think that there's a use case, and I like to see AMD continuing to progress in that Threadripper space, because it gives, at least Intel a little competition in it if they, well, come out with more of a high-end desktop one as well. I just hope Intel just competes. I talk about Intel and it kind of depresses me until they get back in the game. So, yep. Now, I wanted to mention this too. I was on video cards, and they had an article about Micro Center. Went and checked it out. Looking like some of the like 9950, the 9900, the 9700, the 9600X, all have dropped in price. If you're looking for these are non-V-cache models, right? If you're looking for a Ryzen CPU, get into that AM5 platform for a little bit cheaper. Now is the time to do that. You can video cards. Micro Center has had that. I was thinking about. I've had an Xbox. I haven't had turned on in a long time. Been busy with other things, and I was like, you know what? Maybe what I go through and I try with Xbox prices going up with the PlayStation, just try to see what you can do for a price of a console, price of the PlayStation 5, for example, with a processor, with new parts or with used parts. Maybe that might be a good build to do, good experiment, but that's something that I was planning to go out and, maybe do, and then throw that to maybe be my replacement for the Xbox there. So we'll see what I do, right? I hope that I get there, but so far that's one of the plans. I want to build another desktop for me, so I might start out with I got a 1700X3D here. That was my friend's that I upgraded to the 9800X3D. He has a sweet gaming rig. He gets the latest stuff. he games a lot, so he gets a lot of the latest stuff, and he enjoys it. So as long as he's using it right, that's a really good thing. Now, AMD has had some more Codenames video cards, had this as well, which is some new stuff here. And let me go through it, right? Some of the stuff has been leaked out, but this is kind of more revealed by AMD in some of their online search stuff with their technical information portal. So they have the Threadripper Pro 9000, which is some Shimada Peak workstation. They have some AI mobile stuff, which is cracking to Gorgon Point, or Gorgon Point 1, Gorgon Point 2, and Gorgon Point 3. Somebody said or on here, they said AI, Ryzen AI 400, and then they had Soundwave and Medusa, maybe also Ryzen AI. Those are on different sockets for the mobile side. Then they have Ryzen Desktop, Gorgon Point, and then they have Epic Desktop, which is Grado, and then they have Epic Mobile, which is Fire Range. So that Epic Mobile is more embedded, and then Epic Desktop is your full server. So those are some of the names here that video cards had laid out here that AMD announced. I'm interested in it because I like to see where AMD's going. I like to see their pathway, right? Especially in the server market on the business side, you want to have a laid out plan, and you want to hit those plans because businesses are looking for some consistency. One reason why AMD's been taken off is, one, they have a good product, but two, they do have consistency there, and consistency is important as businesses have outlooks and when they want to buy stuff. And so, you know, they're hoping that their partners, which AMD would be partner here, stays on task. And right now, you know, Intel's getting back into that, but hopefully they will continue to move forward because, yeah, Intel right now is uh, it's one of those things where I hope that Intel just picks it up. I talk about Intel and I get a little sad because I really like competition. I've had some Intel products. I mean, my laptop right now is a Intel 12th gen. Works. You know, that's I want to test out that hybrid processor. It works. It's not perfect. But, you know, Intel had some cool stuff over the years, and this is just disappointing. So, where they're at now, I really hope the new CEO helps them turn it around and gets Intel into a competitive edge, because I think that'll also, if it's on GPU and CPU, I think that then we'd have a three-horse race in one. Well, we'll have a three-horse race in both, because I think Nvidia is coming for CPU there as well. Now, there has been, AMD is set to announce the 9060 XT May 21st at Computex. Will be available in June. Hopefully, you know, this is the rumor right now, and this allows that 5060 8GB to be out a little bit longer than what AMD has, right? And you know, I hope AMD does the right thing and says, you know what, all the 8 gig cards, they're being pulled. We're only going to do the 16 gig cards. I mean, even if they just did 12, that'd be fine. I think, but it has to be set up to be 16. Just do 16 gigs. Make that your 9060 XT. If you want to do an 8 gig card, make that the 9060. I would be okay with that. Not ideal, but make that the 9060, not the XT, and make that the differentiator is the RAM, and do it in this scheme where it is a different name, right? One's the 9060, one's the 9060 XT. If you're going that route, I'd even like to see that to be like a 9050 and just be the 8 gig in the 9050 range. That 50 tier should be, could be 8 gigs. I think that's reasonable for that price tier. But I hope AMD does that. We'll see what they do for launch, but I think that would give them a little bit of an edge here as they compete with everybody else. So that might be all the AMD news. Let me quick check here. One more, actually, AMD news. UDNA 5, and they said that AMD, this is from WCCF Tech, and they said that they, you know, as much as they've bridged the ray tracing gap in RDNA 4, UDNA 5 is supposed to intensify that, bring on a little bit more hiring, plans to help level the competition with Nvidia. If AMD is able to do that, now AMD has to have a high-end UDNA, right? Not necessarily has to have a high-end gaming UDNA, but since they're unifying that technology on the graphic side with CDNA and UDNA, you have to have a high-end one that competes in the data centers. What that looks like on the gaming side is anyone's guess. But if AMD is able to come out and just have something close to the high end and get it selling, get it in that price point, with way their drivers have been, I have to say AMD's been pretty solid on their drivers. I mostly use an AMD card here. I have a Nvidia 3050. I was doing some testing with both, and with an AMD, and trying to find out if Windows was having an issue, if it was a hardware issue, what it is. It was Windows. But I was having more issues with the Nvidia card for some reason, the 3050, which should be pretty stable at this point, than with the 7900 XT that I have in the system right now. And I wasn't thinking anything of it. And now I was watching More Law is Dead, and he was going through some of the issues he was having too. I was like, outside of the Windows issues, I was having the same issues he was having with that 3050 for some reason. Just probably driver issues, but something that can be solved, I feel like, in software here. And if AMD can continue that focus, and I think one of the reasons why AMD was able to kind of squeak out this driver focus is because there was a lot of talk, and I didn't think it was a huge deal. I never had any huge issues with the drivers with AMD cards, but people are having a lot of issues. They were vocal online about it, and that's good, because if I don't see an issue, I need somebody to tell me about it, right? Because that's the only way to test and fix it as a developer. And there's many people vocal about this. And one really good thing is AMD took it to heart and said, you know what, we're going to fix this. And they put effort into making sure that they're fixing this. And Moore's Law is Dead, I was listening to him yesterday on this topic of AMD and UDNA. Let's go to RDNA 3 for a second. He was saying, their FSR 4 should be coming there. There's, looks like they're trying to port it. But he was told that they're more focused on making sure that it's right and it works than just getting it out. And I think this is the right approach. And I think AMD kind of went in here, and from the onset of these drivers issues, because we're going to jump into Nvidia here on the same issue here in a second, or in a little bit here, is that, we have to get the drivers right. We have to get them stable, so when people buy our cards, they want to keep using our cards and don't want to return it. I think that's where it is at. Moore's Law is Dead had a great point where right now AMD cards are still selling out, and it looks like people are more willing to go buy the AMD card that is being sold out than go after the Nvidia card that's still sitting on the shelves. And maybe in some instances, like in Europe, we've seen reports of it dropping below MSRP. Really interesting dynamics have changed here, but hopefully AMD can gain some market share and then use that to go after or really move forward in this as well, because I think AMD going after and moving, moving competition in the graphics area and putting more focus on it in the gaming arena of GPUs is a big deal. So hopefully they can do that, and hopefully they will continue on the path of moving, in the right direction for graphics cards and for gamers. That's what I hope. But jumping in now to the Nvidia side of things, I do this for the last few weeks, maybe even longer than that, where Nvidia has a driver fix out, another fix out, hot fix driver with 10 games, monitor fixes, all this other stuff. If you're, listening to this and you have issues with your Nvidia card even after this, just let me know. Leave it in the comments. We can all, hopefully Nvidia will get there. And this is one of my concerns when AI took off and there was that rumor. Now, it was only a rumor, and this bodes some credence that they aren't putting enough focus on the gaming side drivers. And if they're doing that, it's disappointing to see, because, man, Nvidia used to be the one company you went to all the time. Used to be that rock. and now we're running into these issues, and it's disappointing to say the least. But I hope Nvidia can get this fixed, because the people that buy those cards do deserve a usable product around, all the time, right? So Nvidia in France, this was from video cards as well, that they see a drop of 12% on that 5070. So this is where AMD is competing really well, and so there's a drop in price. So that is that's a good sign, I guess. But then you had the rumor of the super cards, and I want to touch on the super cards here, because the super cards, there's been rumors about this. More Law is Dead had a good video on it. Highly recommend you go check out his video on this. But my thought is that on these super cards, while there's rumors out, I don't think Nvidia is going to make a move yet. Now, they are looking for that 3 gigabyte GDR7 modules, right? And so that increases your RAM on these cards. Now, Moore's Law is Dead said that they wanted to keep the prices close to where the prices are now of these cards that replace, so the 5080, 5070, or supers would replace the 5070s and 5080s, and keep about the same, but you'd have a little bit more RAM. My thought is that Nvidia is probably going to wait a year-ish or so before they release the supers, if they are, because they want to get that price of that memory down a little bit. And when that memory price comes in there, there's also tariffs, economics there of, shipping and everything else, of how that's going to go. My guess is Nvidia's going to sit this out, wait for supplies to kind of go through, see how's everything selling versus Nvidia, and then see if they need to make an adjustment. Because who knows, maybe their drivers get ironed out and they get maybe a little bit more bump in percentage, move that a little bit closer, adjust the price a little bit, which they don't like to do, and they come up and they're selling well enough, and they say, you know what, this is more important to go to our AI stuff than it is, and manufacture AI stuff, than it is to switch and start manufacturing just all these cores for gaming, and we'll see how it's going. But I think that's going to be a year to 18 months before they come out with something like this, to see where it's at. And maybe what happens is a game like GTA 6 or something like that, that just crushes 8 gig cards, is the determining factor of saying, now we need to upgrade to do this. And that's one reason why I mentioned with AMD just getting rid of that 8 gig, unless you're going to make it the low end, because AMD normally sticks with their products unless they put like another nomenclature on it, right, or another generation. So that's what I think is going to happen there, and so we'll see where we all end up. But yeah, supers I think are too close to come out right now, and that's why I think it's going to be about a year. This one was just an interesting story. Video cards had it, and Nvidia is denying it, but they're saying that GPU lobster smuggling is a thing. So they're smuggling GPUs and lobsters, or alongside live lobsters, I should say. So yeah, this is one of those things where it's pretty funny. Yeah, I couldn't stop laughing. Nvidia is like, yeah, maybe America should just innovate, and instead of rather telling tall tales. So this could get interesting, right? There's certain restrictions for that Nvidia can and can't do. So this is one of those where you kind of are like, be a little bit careful, because you can be slapped with more things there than with restrictions and sanctions, and be in trouble, Nvidia. So there, let's jump over to Intel real quick here. Intel is their leadership. They said that they are unveiling 14A process. So, and then there'll be derivatives of 18A. So their foundries are still going forward. It'll be interesting to see what the CEO does here, Lip-Bu. I like to see innovation here, and hopefully that will continue. Really quick on the other thing that Intel had this week is that their integrated graphics for ARC now is improved with their latest driver update. So they're still improving their drivers. I think Intel's in kind of an interesting space. One, they need to get out better hardware and not just compete in the low end. And it seems like for Battle Mage, that's not happening. Maybe Celestial, that'll happen and go more of the mid range instead of just the low end here. And their low power gaming is improving. But the other side of this is that the driver side needs to keep getting ironed out and keep improving. And there's still areas to grow in that driver stack. So good to see that Intel is doing this, and hopefully that will continue down the road of getting us the gaming stuff that we all want and the competition there. So one thing on Microsoft here, we're going to touch on Microsoft because it's annoying, right? They're removing all the way to do a local account, and I think one major reason is I was listening to Brad Sams, and he had a really good thing, and NeoWind had the article here, but Microsoft is getting away with it because as people upgrade from Windows 10 to go to Windows 11, they want that Microsoft account. Now, I would not be surprised if there's a government someplace that says you need to put this local account stuff back in. So if I was Microsoft, I'd be careful about that because I believe even on my Android phone, I can go with a local only account. I don't need an online account. Of course, my Android phone's a little bit older still. So that's one thing where I'd be cautious about. But what if you don't have internet? What is Microsoft doing in that scenario? Because they're now assuming that everyone has internet. And there is scenarios where that doesn't work. One, Microsoft Windows does not have the drivers, and you'd have to go get the drivers, which, by the way, by now Microsoft should be able to do just a basic driver for most things. Um, or at least if you're going to have these installers that are updated once a year, include those new device drivers that would be needed. This is one of those things that Microsoft should be doing, but doesn't seem to be. The other aspect is internet may be down, right? You may be out of offline and be like, hey, I want to finally get this done, so let's get it done. And you don't have internet connectivity, you're kind of stuck. Now, I believe there will be workarounds. Somehow, somebody will find it, but Microsoft is really trying to block it. And I still use local accounts in some areas, and Microsoft really wants that juicy account information. So that's what they're going to keep on doing. And of course, it wouldn't be a Microsoft week without a Microsoft thing, which is, making sure that you get an error when you try to download 24H2 on 23H2 or 22H2 Windows 11. That sounds like a perfect Microsoft thing to do. Microsoft, fix your stuff before trying to force everyone to go there. And so that's one annoying thing. One thing I want to touch on quick is the Nothing Phone 3. That's going to be their flagship at some point this year, Q3. They said it's also coming to the United States. I'm excited about that. I think they got a really good phone going on there. I really like to see what they're doing, but now we got some more stuff or another phone in the U.S. market, way more in Europe, and not using the beta program. So that was good to see. Let's go into some gaming news before I end on some other just side tech news here. We have Proton 10 is in beta release, so there'll be more. Steam's got more games on Windows. That's just Phoronix has this. More translations, later stuff. Like to see it. Glad Steam's still pushing on this and getting this through. And then you had, what was it? That's still Valve. One second here. I'm switching screens and I thought I had it, which I don't. Battlefield 6 footage was leaked, and it looks like there's some good maps and stuff like this. So that's going to be fun to see come out. It should be around not close to GTA 6. Here you have Elden Ring gets in new PC requirements. Elden Ring Nightreign. So that's going to be new PC requirements, which, if I recall here, I was looking at or seeing this on Twitter. It's recommended or minimum is Windows 10, Core i5, 10600 or Ryzen 5500. They want an i5 1100 or Ryzen 5 5600 for recommended 16 or 12 and 16 gigs of RAM, a 1060 or 1070 for your minimum and recommended graphics. And so nothing to write, nothing spectacular, nothing to push things, but you get a little bit of the recommended minimums there. So a little update. I think that's pretty cool. Borderlands 4 is releases move forward September 12th. So if you're looking forward to Borderlands, that's something to look forward to there. EA did some layoffs, which is a lot sad, right? So Apex Legends was hit. Titanfall project is canceled. Star Wars Jedi and some of those teams there are hit too. This is one of those things that you're sad about, and hopefully those people can go and get a job quite quickly. So that, I think, Epic Games. Thought I was done with the gaming news, but Epic Games says Fortnite is going to return to iOS. And so this is there's some proposals of dropping litigation, something there, no tax ruling, all that other stuff. So no Apple tax, I think it is. So that's going to be a little interesting as that returns. So what else we got? Oh yeah, I was going to forget this. How could I forget the one gaming news that it was most important to me? So this is Half-Life 3. I'm a huge Half-Life fan. And I've played Half-Life more times than probably anyone should, or the whole Half-Life series. So here we are, Half-Life 3, rumored, winter release, summer reveal, someplace in there. It's a rumor, but if it happens, I'll be excited. I'll buy the game. I'll play the game. So that's the way that's going to work. Xbox prices, I think I'm going to do a separate video on this too. Xbox prices are increasing. Games are going to $80 for first party. This goes back to the whole thing. Maybe I'll just do a video and try to build a PC for an Xbox there. Let's get into some random tech news here real quick on the quick rundown. So President Trump says in the United States there's going to be a huge investment by Samsung as well. I'm interested to see where that is, probably in the Arizona area. So we'll see how that goes. HBM4 memory from Samsung is getting interest, of course, faster memory, especially for the AI sequencing. That's going to be huge there. TSMC is also already building, chip factories in the United States. They get a permit. They are receiving payment, and they're starting building right away. It's good to see here in the United States we get some more tech, injunction into here, or innovation in, right? Somebody's got to give Intel a run for their money, and GlobalFoundries isn't. So there is that, but that is going to do it for this week. There's not much else here for news. Just Intel Panther Lake stuff, but Q4, 2026 full rollout for Panther Lake, kind of like what we expected. But this is where we're at, and I hope that you all will have a great week. Let me know any news down in the comments below that you may have as well. And until next time, I want to thank you all for watching and Gray Overload, helping this channel grow. I really do appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, watch one of my videos. That really does help with the channel. Till next time, God bless.